everybody, thanks for tuning in. I wanted to do, whoa, that was a big close-up of me. Just a brief update, I'm in my garage, on the kidnappings in the Visalia, Tulare County area. I don't have my research out here, but if you go back to my Agenda 21 St. John's Occult Masonic Mythical Lodge video, I read from the handbook, I guess, for the Masons. It's actually like a site that you can go on. It's called Masonic Software, and it talks about the cult of St. John. So the dates of the kidnappings usually are a couple of days before. But the police around here, in case you haven't noticed all the helicopters and stuff, they've gotten real wise to when the kidnappings take place and who is involved, and they're always watching. So they are actually, I know people like, the police are involved, and there are police that are involved. They're actually fighting amongst each other. They always have been. I mean, they just had a police officer in LA shoot a bunch of other police officers. For what reason? You have to ask yourself, oh, there was a dead girl. Well, maybe she was already there. Anyways, so the police are doing their best with this, and I mean you'll see the helicopters, and I mean to the normal person in town it may seem like oh, they're having helicopters, they're doing this, they're doing that, but take into account the dates are the 5th, the 11th, and the 18th, and this is not a date thing per se. It's actually a lunar cycle or a sun cycle. So different portals are open, different things like that. So they use the solar system most definitely. And so next time you see them, the police swarming, check the date. It'll probably be the 11th or the 18th. And what happened this last time with the child that was found dead, and they've got his stepfather in custody, was he was taken on the 18th. So what's happening, unfortunately, is people... I can't have to be careful about what I say, using specific examples. So let's just say, like, for example, let's say this occult or this group or brotherhood is involved, and they perpetrate these kidnappings normally through the same old means that they always do, and they always use a certain group of they always use black people to do it because it also creates more problems. It's killing many birds with one stone. So basically, when the police are chasing them and the abductions are being interfered with, then they're going to start doing, more drastic things like going to people in the lower levels of the brotherhood, in which they have brought into the brotherhood purposely because of their children or because of their lineage, bloodlines, DNA, whatever connections, whatever it is, and they bring them in for a purpose. In fact, there is a Masonic site, and I just was on a crazy thing, just searching all night long, and when you're searching on one specific computer, your cookies will bring up a bunch of different things, and then I had cleared all my cookies out, and then I tried to go back and research the same thing, and I couldn't really find it. But there was a Masonic website, and if you want to, you can look it up, try to look it up yourself, and I had a lot of people on the internet on Jeff King's videos trying to get me to tell them what website it was, and you can see me on there as I think World Famous Aprons, and I'm saying I'm going to tell you the name, the website. Go look it up for yourself, because they just want to go and attack that website. But it was just a Masonic website. It wasn't anything else. It was really a Masonic website, and they were like, we're not a cult, we're not a secret society. But then they, like, if you keep reading on through it and everything, they talk about how they use the King James Bible, and then they were using certain Corinthians, and all the numbers were like 33. They were all Masonic occult numbers that they use and go over in their rituals, ceremonies, meetings, whatever. So there was that, and then it said that they were going to be going over their 5, 10, 50, 100, and 250 year plan. And it said a bunch of stuff like we're better men, we've dedicated ourselves to being better men, we put our lust for gold aside, and it's our job to recognize other people out there and recruit them into the order. And I don't know if they called it an order, but it was something to that effect. And what else did it say? it said that, and I don't remember, but it led me on a whole thing looking into that. But they're definitely, oh, it said that was like the most important part. I'm sorry, I always do that. Oh, the most important part. They said that they would be around in 50 years. They said, we know what they don't. They said all these things about themselves in comparison to the Goyim or to the profane. And they said that's why our lodges will still be here in 50 years and the churches will not. So that is the plan that they have. Don't forget that they have a plan to tear down all the churches and restructure everything into a Masonic order. Which everything is already that way, in case you haven't noticed. They just have a couple of loose ends to tie up. So... and that's why most of the people that are in the churches actually belong to the Masonic order, because they have infiltrated it and begun to systematically shut it down through child pornography, child molestation. They go in and they're the ones who infiltrate this. They're the ones who actually are the perpetrators, even though they seem, like people in the church. And I know for a fact that the churches in Visalia are involved in human trafficking. I mean, I have that for a fact, fact. So, and there are 2 dollhouses that I know of in Visalia, and I'll do that on another one because I found another dollhouse in Visalia, which is like less than a mile from my house. So, and right down the street from the high school, and it's all young girls that are there. But, whew, that was a lot of information on like a huge, tangent there. But you need to know those dates, the 5th, the 11th, and the 18th, and around those dates, but especially in October, November, you've got to be careful in this area because the St. John's Mythical Lodge is here. And in this area, the St. John's occult rituals are done. It's November, and then again in July. I read it in my book, and there's dates like this date. So it goes 666, and the way it counts out is 5, and then 6 days later is the 11th, and then you go 11, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is the 18th. It's like some crazy counting system that they do. It's not like how you and I would count. And then it culminates always on the 24th. So it goes, it's 666, and then 6 days later it culminates on the 4th. So, and how I found these dates out, Tony, how did you learn this? Well, that's my real name, because you didn't know that. I actually started looking into the occult sacrifices like Whitney Houston, Amy Winehouse, not Michael Jackson, Amy Winehouse, Kurt Cobain, Jim Morrison, and you can't go back much further than that. But here's what I found out. Okay, so if you've been looking into this, the occult uses like the Grammys and all these different awards shows to actually do rituals. And it's a way to get everybody there to do the rituals at once, and then they do all this different stuff, and it's on the grid, on a power grid that runs around the earth, and they pump this energy and whatever. So I was looking into it, and I noticed that 39 is the star date, 13, 13, 13. And it's also the Kundalini, all those different stuff, Kundalini rising, all that stuff. So I noticed that Madonna did her Super Bowl ritual dance, and it was 2, 5, 11? No, I can't remember. You'll have to look it up. It was February 5th. Maybe it was 12 then. I don't know, but it added up to 39. It added up to a total of 39. And so I paid attention to it, and then I thought, and I added up when Whitney Houston died, and it was like within a day or so of being 6 days later. And so I was like, that's pretty close, and then I go, okay, so I went back to Kurt Cobain. Courtney Love was with Interscope, it's always Interscope Records, was with Interscope Records, while Kurt was in the mental hospital and he was trying to escape. So he could have walked out the front door, but instead he climbed like a giant wall and tried to escape. He was in rehab. And she had called him before and had told him, whatever, no matter what they say, you made a good album. And he was like, what? And that's when he left. And so there's a lot of, talk about that. But the thing was that the Grammy show was around that time, and she was there staying at one of these hotels, one of these chateau hotels, that they stay at. And so I just found that Madonna did the dance routine. 6 days later, so Whitney Houston died. She has pictures of her a couple nights before her wedding, and she has blood running down the back of her leg, and then a scar right here on her arm, which is where they do the blood coagulation ceremony. And I mean, come on, seriously, this broad was kind of old. She's not bleeding down the back of her leg. Really, she's leaving a club like hey, blood doesn't make any sense. And then there's Courtney Love, and then 6 days later, Kurt Cobain dies. And then, but the most interesting one was the most recent that I noticed because that the media covers things so heavily, and the paparazzi is always on people so heavily that it is very documented now. It's getting like more documented. So I'm just gonna lay this out to you, and you can take it for what it's worth. I listen to Lady Gaga. I like Lady Gaga's music. I'm just saying, this is what I found. If you research Lana Del Rey, Lady Gaga, and there's no pictures. I hadn't seen any pictures of Lana Del Rey in the pictures. I can't remember seeing one of Lana Del Rey, but someone's taking pictures. And there's a photographer there, but she's in the picture. Lindsay Lohan, redhead, Lana Del Rey, and Lady Gaga met at Chateau Marmont, I think it's called. I forget. But they're all these chateaus that they stay at during the Grammys. And it was the week of the Grammys. And they stayed there, and Lindsay Lohan came downstairs to pick up her food to go. And the driver snapped a picture of her from behind. And she has like what looks like a bald spot. But when you look closely, it looks like there's actually like maybe like blonde hair actually like braided in or something to her hair. So look it up on Google. They saying like, oh, they had a sleepover, and then right after it happened, Lady Gaga Lady Gaga tweeted to Lindsay Lohan, when you ordered the butter knife and cucumber, I thought you were going to perform a circumcision. And then it was deleted, like right afterwards, they deleted it off there. So it could have been hacked, it could have been fake, it could have been a publicity stunt. But in any case, that is that's what was reported. So anyways, now remembering that they did this ceremony, and 6 days later, who dies? Amy Winehouse. In London, and they're here in LA with the London photographer. So, who took Amy Winehouse's place? Lana Del Rey. And that is why you should always show her with the bee on her mouth, because she is the new queen bee, and or not the queen bee, but it's symbolized by the beehive, beehive. And I think she goes also by Lizzie Grant. Elizabeth Grant was her original name. Her father was a millionaire in the New York area. So basically I found out that like these people were getting together and doing their ritual. 6 days later, someone was dying, and then a new person was moving up. So Lana Del Rey's album debuted that summer. So it's pretty close. And I found so many of them like that I was like, wow. And then what happened is we started to notice the 666 because a friend of mine's husband was one of these occult sacrifices. We were almost positive. And so we were able to take a lot of stuff back to what was involved with him dying and stuff, and the dates. And there was 3 people that died. And so we had those dates. And when we started to look into them, we started to notice that whenever we were hearing, it was these dates, we were hearing the helicopters overhead, and he was also taken in one of these helicopters. And so, which I have pictures of them, like literally taking dead bodies and them coming back to life. Someone's like, Tony, you're being deceived. I'm like, why were these people, I mean, like, you really think that like there's like a whole cabal of people like just trying to deceive me? Like, for what? Well, Jim Jones, well, I don't have any money. I mean, like, I'm not rich, so like, what do they want, my hundreds? I mean, I'm a thousandaire, you want my thousands, So, I mean, they're really doing this stuff. And we were able to link it with the helicopters, and then, like, as soon as we started to figure out the dates, bam, the date hit and someone died. And we found out that they were connected to this occult, and the whole thing matched up with everything that we had been looking into, and other people knew that there was something suspicious, and that's the picture of the body the body that we saw come back to life. She followed it from the funeral with a police escort. They took it with a police escort, so it was pretty weird. What else? There are certain ages. The fifth is, I believe, like they kill 33-year-olds, they kill 39-year-olds, and they're killing a lot. There's one group that's killing bad people and one group that's just killing people of a certain bloodline. There's 3 different Illuminatis at least. So there's actually some weird stuff. Like I always tell people, like, for as many people that follow me around and take my picture, and I have pictures of them taking my pictures, and we've turned in police reports and have investigators go in and all kinds of stuff. But before we knew what was going on, we didn't know why we were being followed. We didn't understand who we were, and other people knew who we were and stuff like that. So, which, I mean, that's been made clear to us. But it was they look for teenagers around. I think they do teenagers and children at the beginning, and then they do like an older person, usually 58 years old, and then they'll do one at 39, 33. And then I think I don't know the teenage date. I think it's supposed to be 15 or 16, and then maybe just before 16. And then the children, a 2 and a 4-year-old. And at this site by my house, you can actually see where the 2 and the 4-year-old were either buried or where their blood was poured in, because you can tell that it's small and then big, and then in the middle there's like a big one, and it's actually shaped like a human body, like in the position like this, like somebody threw it in there or positioned it in there, and you can see the head. And it's crazy because this last year we've been watching it. Whoa, I just did a rubber band. We've been watching it for like a year, and the last time we went where that was buried, it was like a gigantic like goat heads are pouring out of it and taken out over. And before they get the goat heads, they have little flowers, so they're coming up everywhere and pouring out of just where that one human body is, that you can tell. So it's really crazy. And what I did, and I don't think I have my maps out here, but what I did is I started the killings that I knew were sacrifices in town. I started to map them out on the Visalia map, and they are making like a lotus flower formation. So I'm just wondering, or it's some sort of star formation. So I'm still, mapping it out. Of course, there's another one I have to do because I just did one recently. And so this is basically, I just want people to know, like, I guess people get really freaked out. I see people around town, they're really freaked out about their kids and the kidnappings. And we had like 14 girls disappear in like 2 months. And they were like a group of these people, these MK Ultra mind control people. They take them out into the country and they rape them, program them, and then they bring them back. The rape is a cover for what they're doing to them. That's sad, but the rape is the least of what's going on. And it's part of the process, but it's not important. They don't really need to do the decompartmentalization like they used to. If you watch Dollhouse, I mean, that is very real. It's pretty close to what they're doing, this alien technology. It's less humane than that in real life. It leaves a scar, like a physical scar. So, which I'll do a video about that, and some people in town are not going to like my videos, but this is the truth. This is information that needs to come out. I mean, if you live in this area, don't be afraid. You need to know the dates, when to keep your kids in. On these dates, I don't let my daughter walk home. She's older, but I don't let her walk around. I don't let her, she has a friend that's like 3 or 4 houses down. I will walk her from 4 houses down, or like stand there and watch, because if you've watched my other videos, my daughter was turning a corner, or my father was turning a corner right after he had moved here, and these guys were getting ready to kidnap my daughter. And it was the same guys that had been reported kidnapping these girls and raping them and bringing them back. And one of my customers had made mention to me that she was one of these in this elitist group, and she was like, she didn't like them, and she was trying to tell me that that they were watching me and that I was like targeted, because she said, I wouldn't want anything to happen to you, like what happened to this lady. And it was like, what the hell is she saying to me? It was weird, and she was trying to be nice. She was trying to like kind of drop me a line, and it was just like, not long after that, they tried to take my daughter, and they took her picture when she was with me one time. They actually took our pictures together. So But any case, you should know what the dates are. The 5th, the 11th, the 18th. They do the ritual on the 24th. If you want to know where they're doing the rituals, I would suggest just looking for the Stargate sign. I don't know where else they have. I think Visalia is just like so ignorant. They just thought like, no way anybody's ever going to figure this out. But that's what the Stargate sign looks like. And it's red. It's totally red. And it's also, that same thing is in the Katy Perry video at the end of the firework video. Katy Perry, spiral it turns. And then it's also in Supernatural when they resurrect Eve from out of the ground. She comes up from a blood red spiral. Same thing. So, and I would just be in Visalia. I know they're using a blue Astrovan. What was I going to say? Oh, the Golden West area seems to be where they have the site. It seems to be the most prone to these things. I don't know why. I really don't know why they would. I mean, I don't know what difference does it make. I don't know where the people are from, but it must. So I mean, like I said, with this recent kidnapping and death of this autistic boy in town, I would say if this is the case, which it's the date for, I mean, this is like a big deal. I'm going to stop right now and just say this is a big deal. If you look at that Agenda 21, St. John's Mythical Lodge, a video of mine, the Visalia occult video of mine, I tell you in that video, if they do not do these sacrifices and these rituals twice a year, they forfeit their entire craft for one whole year. That means no magic. No magic, no help from the jinn, no help, no way to pass karma on to other people, because they use magic to pass on karma. You eat meat that you don't kill, and they sacrifice, and you eat it, you have the karma. They've learned to actually do things to where they can, for now, they can, until judgment, they can pass on the karma. And the people suffer the consequences of it. The people unwittingly, unknowingly, but you've had enough information most likely to be told not to do it or to figure it out or to look into it enough to know not to do something, and so you do it anyway. Therefore you forfeit your free will and you take on their karma. It's a pretty weird little cycle that got going on. But if you have to understand, this is very serious for them. If they do not do it, they're fucked if they don't do it. I mean, proper fucked. Like, they can't do anything. They have no power. You have to understand this is a world organization. And this is the St. John's Mythical Lodge. The lodge that was never built. Bullshit. They just built it last year. That's the problem. They built 2 of them and they kept crumbling down, and the foundation and the old bricks are still in the river. So that is not true. They tried to build a couple Masonic lodges there, and they did not work. And they're not going to tell you that the Masons tried to build buildings and they fell down. They're just going to tell you it was a mythical lodge. It was never built. You know, like the Masons who are the turd heads. Bonnie Raitt is a turd head. That's a whole other story that goes back into my family, my friend's family. But the turd heads, they have a rule, just on a different note. If you pass another turd head on the side of the road, pulled over, working on his car, you're not supposed to stop and help. You just wave and you keep on going. Because one turd head pulled over on the side of the road working on a car is one thing. Now 2 of them, that's some bullshit.